You cannot belong to an organization and say that I can't have good working relationships with the people around me, especially your flag bearer. Let me assure everybody who's listening that my aim of becoming chairman is clear. My task is to put the party together into a formidable structure upon which Dr. Boakye, who is our undisputed presidential candidate, can ride into victory. But at the end of the day, you also cannot accept and tolerate disruptive behavior in a group. It destroys the group chemistry, it destroys the group dynamics, and eventually you can have pockets of rebellion within your ranks.
Listen, I don't know, say make one of the few people say what you said Boakye Agyarko kasa yenya abutrete nipa make these people. And in fact, because what you kasa na say only say Boakye Agyarko to work kasa, only say papa no he is matured enough na ni no national chairmanship position in the New Patriotic Party. Of course, let me warmly welcome you to this noble platform. Hi, Smart Africa Media. Kindly subscribe to our YouTube channel. Without you, Smart Africa Media wouldn't have been here. And to thank you very much for your effort. Now, Ebusia, Dr. Boakye Agyarko, Adin Komo, only so oka more chairmanship position. And me, or one of my favorite here, Uncle Winya, Uncle Minibaji. And no free wa. Yo de mami oka one of my favorite no anka Dr. Boakye Agyarko enya national chairman no Minibaji na wadi nkomo. Ono so keka be wura Kennedy die no kakra. Na eno ati no what say unity in the party. Say unity no divide and NDC e win power. But so unity no NDC can never win power. And was started free baby and what say edu brebi na parliamentary seat na ekuta 160 something. E bedu brebi no e yesei afide ba ne say na akọ 78 to 79. Is there not a cause? And on one kase the last 2020 and 2024 2024 kwara so anko 2020 osin nkrofo catch and penifo bi din komo say anka one withdraw from the presidential race nanka one be contest for national chairmanship position no but one for na dwuna momo and no ka ho na NPP because nya defeat because we buy ya anka bia na nkendrusa na this time around wa bafo vim so we bedimanto no and wonu no betimi aye dwuma no oye a certain man wo tie ni kasa won say debia sokora no edumja no onim kasa oye matured enough and you would love listen to this man. I think say NPP for enyom nyoma bi enyom na lesie national chairmanship position obusia jibrene tie yewura Boakye Agyarko conversation tie.
Each election we lose, we bounce back. We reorganize ourselves and bounce back. So this time is not going to be different. However, the scale and the magnitude of the loss is what caught everybody off guard and our attention. The aftermath of the elections have been quite turbulent in many respects, and understandably so. If you ask 100 people as to why we lost the elections, you'll get 100 reasons. Each person in their nutshell looked at the tiny aspect of their life, their perspective and so on. But it was a shocker to the extent of the loss. We had come from 169 seats to 137 and then suddenly to now 87. We have looked through the Boakye Committee report some of the issues that caused this debacle. But over and all, what filters through is a weakened party. A weakened party in the sense that its own members, its own troops, had lost their heart to fight for their party. If you look at the results carefully, President John Mahama increased his votes over 2020 by 168,000. We lost almost 2.2 million votes over and above the 2020 elections, which meant that whilst Mahama's and his party barely appreciated, we hemorrhaged, our people walked away. That is what we need to fix or pay attention to and fix. How do we summon the spirits and the energies of our dispirited troops to come back to the battle and wage a hard war for 2028? For me, that is the focus. Doing a post-mortem is basically a guide, not a solution in itself.
Okay.
So I focus less on the post-mortem publicly. We learn our lessons from the analysis and the post-mortem. But that is to inform and guide us as to what to do. We've taken a look at all those matters, and I can assure you and your audience that this party is looking squarely, without equivocation or without feeling sorry for itself, knowing what to do in order to overcome what has befallen us. And we have the courage and the capacity to remedy the situation and face 2028.
Okay, thank you very much. So how do you come in here? Why Boakye Agyarko? Why did you decide to contest for the national chairmanship?
Well, I am a child of this tradition and of this party. I was one of those people in 1992 who birthed this party 34, almost 35 years ago. And I've been with it and served it loyally. There comes a moment in time when, with all the experience you've gathered, with all the understanding and knowledge you have gathered about the party, your party, my party, you move in a different direction of service, or in an appropriate direction of service. Right now, I acknowledge that our party is not in a happy place. And because it's not in a happy place, the question ought to be, what can I do to turn the narrative of this party into a happy one? The matter of me coming to the national chairmanship is not new. 6 years ago, President Kufuor called me to his house and made the request of me. At that time, I did not concur. 5 years ago, President Kufuor called me to his office and made the same request of me. I didn't. Not too long ago, at Rock City in Kwau, 88 members of parliament of our party also made a request of me to drop my presidential ambition and run for the chairmanship. I did not give them the agreement. And then in Kumasi, 22nd of June 2025, all the 276 constituency chairmen who were meeting there also made that same request. I did not immediately give them my consent because there are a lot of things one has to consider. In my political journey, I've had a lot of people surround me, particularly young men and women, and we had charted a course for the presidency. Then all of a sudden, I'm ambushed to make an acceptance without consulting the young men and women around me. If I had agreed there and then on the podium, I wonder what those young people would have thought of me. We've made a plan with you. Then all of a sudden they throw a bone at you and you jump at it. It wouldn't have been fair to them and even to myself. But there are moments in time. I always say that when you belong to a group or a family, sometimes you have to put aside your own interests and ambitions and do what will prosper the group or the family you belong to. They may ask you to do something that you are not interested in or that is contrary to your own wishes. But for the sake of the welfare and prosperity of your group or family, you put aside your own interests and ambitions and do what the larger group wants you to do. In this case, I came to the realization that something was being demanded of me that the people who were doing this over the years believed I had the capacity and knowledge to fulfill, particularly at this time. It is about bringing a dispersed group of people together. It is about setting a vision with clarity and a strategy to guide them to that destination. It is about laying out a plan of action towards the goal of securing victory in 2028. Leadership is not administrative, it is strategic. And having listened to all of them and examined myself, I believe I have these capabilities that leadership requires in order to go on this rescue mission and pull the party out of its current situation and advance it to what everybody knows we are capable of. So this is what has prompted me, and these are the characteristics: discipline, which is now lacking in our party, integrity, the knowledge, the skills of managing a party such as ours. All these qualities I believe I have, and this is what I want to come to the table with, so that I gather the party together, strengthen it, rebrand it, and make it appealing to the generality of Ghanaians. My vision is to make the New Patriotic Party the party of choice for Ghanaians, i.e., the most dominant party in our political space, so that automatically people prefer or want to join the NPP rather than any other party. That is my goal, and I think that it is doable.
Okay. So staying on unifying the members of the party, I would want you to also touch on welfare of many grassroots who feel that they are often neglected after elections. So I would want you to tell us your plan, how you would improve the welfare of these grassroots supporters.
Well, every organization, you join organizations for benefits, not only cost. Some people even make the argument that what do supporters of football clubs who weep after their teams lose, what do they get? There is an emotional and psychological satisfaction that their team have won. So there is a gain there. You may not see it as a tangible gain, but for that person who is weeping because the club has lost a game, there is an anxiety or an emotional pain that he's going through. So the high side of it is his team winning. So I concede that you do all these activities for a gain. You sacrifice, but there must be a gain at the end. party welfare must therefore follow these lines. It means that we have to know who our party people are. If you don't know your own, you cannot share the benefits. So for me, the first thing is a proper registration of party people, making sure that they are identified, making sure that they make their recognizable contributions to the party, so that when it comes to shared benefits, you know who you are giving to. I witnessed a funny but terrible situation in Newark, New Jersey. They run, in Newark, they also run something similar to Trotro. Small vans, shuttling people back and forth. And this van probably had about 6 or 7 people. And it had an accident. Unfortunately, the driver died. Now, we were watching from an apartment. And as soon as other motorists saw the accident, they'll park their cars and go and lie amongst the injured and the dead. So by the time the ambulance arrived, there were about 40 people on the ground. And you know why? Insurance claims. They are looking to benefit from insurance. It happens in our political parties. There are people who are not our members, but who will make all the noise that they are grassroots, they are this, and therefore they. And sometimes our non-members are the ones who make the most noise. So for me, the first thing is identification and cataloging who our members are. It is important that we look at what their interests are. And in the categorization, we should be able to tell various people and what they are looking for. Once you recognize the need for their satisfaction, you have half of the problem solved. This is a political party that is not a business concern. So it is difficult to say we are going to pay this or we are going to do that. But as and when the time and the seasons make appropriate, you will do the needful for your party. And it will be targeted and direct, because now you know that as we sit now, we don't. I will make the concession that right now, until and unless the appropriate identification is made, it will be difficult to satisfy or promise anybody and everybody. But I will take it upon myself and accept the fundamental principle that these people have to be taken care of. It may not necessarily be monetary all the time. Empathy goes a long way. Helping each other also goes a long way. Not too long ago, 2021 and 2022, I met all the constituency chairmen in Koforidua on 2 separate occasions to think through and plan a welfare system for our party. It wasn't concluded. The 3rd meeting was when they ambushed me in Kumasi with the chairmanship bid. So that was dropped. What I can promise is that because it was a very good scheme in the making, I will make sure that we bring it back to the satisfaction of our members.
If you just joined in, this an exclusive interview with Honorable Boakye Agyarko, National Chairman hopeful for the NPP. Yes, so thank you, Facebook. Our friends on Facebook, I would ask you your questions and also share your comments with Honorable at the appropriate time. Thank you for being there. And Honorable, I want you to talk about, you keep mentioning about unity. Can I say it's established that there are factions in the party, and how do you intend to bring all these factions together without further harming the process?
Well, you see, every organization, including church organizations, will have factions. What does a faction mean? A faction basically means that a group of people within the larger group band together and think in a particular way. Politics is basically a game of contestation of ideas. Ours is a Catholic party in the sense that it contains a broad mass of different ideas, although all of them right of center. But so you are going to have a situation where groups of people will think that this is the best way to go. Another group of people will think this is what we must do. Another group of people will say this is what we must believe in. It happens to all political parties. NDC is going through theirs. Parties in America, Republican Party is going through it. The Democrat, every political party goes through it. So that by itself is not new. What we must avoid is a situation where the smaller group interests are made to supersede the bigger group interests. What I mean by this is that NPP has its own ideologies, NPP has its own beliefs, principles, and values. NPP has its own expectations. So if there are smaller groups or called factions within, they must not contradict the ideals of the larger group. So therefore, if say NPP is a capitalist party, we cannot have a faction within the NPP saying we believe in socialism. It can't work. At the end of the day, what happens is that the minority must have its way, but the minority must have its say, the majority its way. If, for instance, after we go through a contest, and in a contest, all of us are not going to support one candidate. All of us are not going to sing the same tune. It is said that if the people in a room full of people are saying the same thing, it means only one person is doing the thinking. The others are just parrots. But after a contest where divergent opinions emerge and contest against each other, the cardinal thing is that we accept the principle that the minority has been given its say, opportunity to say, but that the way of the majority is what is going to prevail. We all therefore put our arms and our weapons to the side and follow what the majority is saying. The minute you refuse this cardinal principle of minority being given the opportunity for its say and the majority having its way, the minute you defy it, you become a distraction to the group. And one way or the other, that must be dealt with. It cannot be that after, say, an election, an internal election, some say we still don't agree. Well, you had an opportunity to disagree at the ballot. But if it's been counted, agreed upon, you signed, then it is incumbent upon you to accept the verdict and support whoever emerged as leader or the winner 100% without equivocation. That is what party loyalty is about. I am very suspect of party loyalties that are solely devoted to individuals. Yes, there will be individual loyalties, but that individual loyalty must not supersede loyalty to party. That is where we tend to get problems. But I think that in the end, what I intend to do is to talk to people, negotiate with people, plead with people. I said today to the delegates that we are in a situation where a raging river threatens to overwhelm us. We need a bridge to escape the ravaging rivers. I will offer myself as a bridge to the party so that all those who are angry, disaffected, whatever, can cross over me as their bridge and come back home. So it's going to be a lot of work in talking and assuaging wounded sentiments and smoothing ruffled feathers. We need to talk to people so that they embrace the group point of view, the majoritarian point of view. There will be some who by all means will not accept. There will be, for those who refuse to accept, you give them time. And you give them the option. Whether you believe in the NPP or you don't. If you believe in the NPP, then it behooves you to lay aside your weapons. If you don't, then it means you have to find your way out. It's not a pleasant option, but at the end of the day, you also cannot accept and tolerate disruptive behavior in a group. It destroys the group chemistry, it destroys the group dynamics, and eventually you can have pockets of rebellion within your ranks. So that should not be countenanced and encouraged. But that will be the last option after you've tried many attempts to bring everybody on board. It's your last and final option. But even after you've shown them the exit, if they repent and recant their ways, by all means, and take them back. You see, because even God who created us, when he expels us, he gives us a way of redemption. So when he expelled Adam and Eve from the garden, he didn't close them out completely. He provided the way for their redemption. What I'm saying, therefore, is even after people have insisted, recalcitrants have insisted that they don't believe in us, they don't want to be part of us, you keep your options open. Who knows? They may be the ones to come back and energize our party. But if for some reason they don't want to be a part of us, you can't force the issue.
Okay, thank you very much on that one. Now I would want you to stay a bit on this, and that's the relationship between a chairman and, for that matter, the flag bearer. So in this context, some people argue that the next national chairman should have an excellent relationship with Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. What is your response to that?
But that is a requirement. Look, you cannot belong to an organization and say that I can't have good working relationships with the people around me, especially your flag bearer, whom we are going to use on the ballot to secure power. If you worked in an organization, say the civil service or the public service, and you choose to be at loggerheads with your boss, you'll be sacked. Am I lying? It means the organization can't contain you. I know that a lot of people have made quite a bit of noise and tried to make capital that, oh, I don't get along with Bawumia, he says he can't work with me, nobody has heard from Alhaji's mouth that he can't work with me. Nobody has heard from my mouth that I said I can't work with the library. So where is that speculation coming from? I have worked with Dr. Bawumia from 2008 to now. 2008, when he was running mate, I worked closely with him. We didn't win 2012 elections. I was campaign manager for the campaign, not just for the campaign. So it was part of what I managed. Again, we didn't win, we went to court. I was the policy advisor for 2016, and he was the chairman of the manifesto committee. And manifesto and policy, you work hand in hand. We went on to win power. I became a minister in the cabinet. I was a member of the economic management team. On no occasion did I ever have a conflict or a disputation or an argument with Dr. Muhammad Bawumia. Never. Not once. So sometimes I wonder where this is coming from. And I've had a conversation with him over this man. Says, he himself, I shocked him. He doesn't know where this is coming from. Let me assure everybody who's listening that my aim of becoming chairman is clear. My task is to put the party together into a formidable structure upon which Dr. Bawumia, who is our undisputed presidential candidate, can ride into victory. In 2008, during the discussion with him, in about the 2024 elections, during the discussion with him post-election, he asked for my opinion on the laws. And I said it was a simple matter. The NDC had a weak candidate, but they had a strong party. And that strong party was able to carry a weak candidate across the finish line. We had a strong candidate, but a weak party, the reverse. And our weak party was not able to carry Dr. Bawumia to the finish line. So what we have to do now is to build a solid party for the solid candidate. And inshallah, because we have a strong candidate and a strong party, victory will come easily. That is the proposition. So my task as chairman is not to be presidential candidate. There are no vacancies there. That matter is settled. My task is to build a party for him to ride on. His task is to be the face of the party in canvassing for votes so as to get the nod from the country. The two functions are completely different, yet complementary. People make it look as if that it is yes and no, black and white. But everything is in the middle, gray. And it takes a negotiating skill and an understanding of what the objectives are. I'm told of a situation in is it Manchester City or Manchester United? Two frontline players are not on speaking terms with each other. But when one gets the ball and he is not he's in a position where he can't score, he willingly passes it to his quote enemy who is in a better position to score. Why is that? One thing, winning bonus. When the team wins, he gets his bonus, his opponent also gets his bonus. So it's a win-win situation. We have to keep it in our mind that the only objective of the 2028 contestation is to win power. It doesn't matter who wins it for us, but at this moment, it is Dr. Muhammadu Bawumia who's been selected to do that, perform that task for us. If I become chairman, my task is not in conflict with his. And I don't see Dr. Bawumia saying, well, I want to do the work of chairman in addition to flagbearer. So everybody should rest their minds, let your minds be at peace. I have spent more than half of my life in this party working for its success. Right? What to trigger me to now work for its failure? If it happens that then the next place you people have to send me is a mental hospital. I have spent 35 years, on 3 occasions almost lost my life. In one instance, I was added to the dead in the 37 mortuary. I've done all of this, gone through all of this. More than half my life working for the success of the party. Then all of a sudden, for no good and apparent reason, then I start working to make sure it fails. Well, I don't seem to understand the logic behind it. Me and Dr. Baumia, we are going to work together. But you see, today I was telling the audience something. In life, there will be always those against and for. That's why there's shaitan. There will be always those for and against. And there will always be mischief makers whose only happiness comes from making mischief. That is, so I gave them an ayah, which I will repeat here. Okay. And it says, وَإِذَا كِلَ لَهُمْ لَا تُفْسِدُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ قَالُوا إِنَّمَا نَحْنُ مُصْلِحُونَ أَلَا إِنَّهُمْ هُمُ الْمُفْسِدُونَ وَلَكِنْ يَشْعُرُونَ. It says, when we tell them that they are the mischief makers, they say, no, we are for peace. But in reality, they are the one making mischief. So to all those mischief makers, Nyamiyamu.
Our Tom, where Tom, our northern region, see, I'm looking at our northern region, and our copy our Blue Waves radio. Yeah. Now, what could this sound common? And what I say, send NPP, Lucy concentration, and NDC Betty Mantle. Send NPP, a unite here, NDC can never win. Wakasa, we didn't come up, Nebusia. Message us over so now subscribe like no was I share them from which bench. It's now mammy who comment no our comment section. Boakye Agyarko ni Jumbo Duni, Chama won't to me, why na wo prefer? Why Anka Winya, Anka Waya national chairman, Edema the new patriotic party. But Boakye Agyarko a be national chairman. Me say either Boakye Agyarko and now say Jumbo Du Bako will revive the NPP. Chama won't me bet me, they be a make us a chama won't me bet me. But level no, be a dinner drew no court ya kwani abano. One of this time ain't many season. Uncle bet me, but this time or background and this behano. And would ya mimi too, mimi prefer to. Such chama won't do many problem now come the neck but mimi prefer to. Boakye Agyarko, any Jumwedu. These two people, Bako eya ebeboa. Because what tie papa ne nkasa yimwa. Wachirem kwen NPP efa so lose election wakasa and what just nkrofo bi kura se ono ne Boakye Agyarko ne Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia o professor Debida ono na ye dwuma che. In fact what ye bi me pese me kasa bebre me pese me do comment so aka yenko comment section na yenkonkudi enkomo Smart African Media wada wo ma subscribe like na fi san share ma foforo no mo chichi bench me din e do ban komo ba na ko fi mo santi gudi bakro.